What's good, YouTube? This is AOC85 here on a beautiful June summer morning. Ohio weather is finally stabilized, so I thought it's well good in time to show you guys the updated version of the Heavenly Hosts. The Lost Sanctuary Structure Deck number 20, comes out June 14th, which is about 6 days away from today. So, with that said, I know you guys are really excited about the structure deck. You guys know I'm really excited about the structure deck. In 6 days, it will finally be legal over here in the United States. We can finally use that regionals and locals. So I'm going to look forward to doing that. I'm actually thinking about going to outside of Ohio for once to regional just to test the deck out and see how it holds up against other decks in the middle. But yeah, I wanted to bring you guys an updated version of the Heavenly Hosts. Been playtesting for a bit and I've come up with a different build. I'll explain the differences in the video. It's not too many differences. The synchro deck is the same. Well, it has one change, which I'll explain in a little bit. But yeah, let me get down to the deck list of the Heavenly Host version 2.0. 3 copies of Master Hyperion. 3 copies of Zeradis, Herald of Heaven. 3 copies of the Agent of Mystery Earth. 3 copies of Mystic Shineball. 2 copies of the Agent of Miracles Jupiter. 2 copies of the Agent of Creation Venus. 2 copies of Herald of Orange Light. 1 copy of Honest. 3 copies of Pot of Duality. 3 The Sanctuary in the Sky. 2 Cards from Heaven. 2 Mystical Space Typhoon. 2 White Elephant's Gift. Book of Moon. Dark Hole. Giant Trinade. Monster Reborn. And for the traps, we have 3 beautiful copies of Divine Wrath, 2 copies of Solemn Warning, and 1 copy of Solemn Judgments. Now, if you had a chance to take a look at my original build, you can see this deck isn't too much different. Some key differences that I took out Terraforming. I felt that Terraforming is another card in this deck that searches out things, which is good, but at the same time, search cards are heavily hurt by Thunder King Ryo. In this deck, you have Zerodis, the Angel of Mystery Earth, and Pot of Duality already. 9 cards in your deck that are all stopped by Thunder King Ryo. Well, at least their searches are stopped by Thunder King Ryo. And I felt that having an additional one in the form of Terraforming is a pretty bad look. Because I knew Thunder King Ryo could be a problem, I tested it out against many decks, that main deck, Thunder King Ryo, anti-meta decks, so on and so forth. And even when I got the wins, it was very difficult because he stopped my searches. And his effect is continuous, so it's one of those effects you can't stop with either Herald of Orange Lights or Divine Wrath. So I decided to take that out. I added Book of Moon in this place because Book of Moon is awesome to stop synchros and it's further I guess control in the form of, I don't know, preventing your opponent from making that synchro play or even preventing them from attacking. I moved away from trying to control the battle phase in this deck to basically trying to maximize counter traps. So you see that the dimensional prisons were taken up for Solemn Warning. I still side deck them and I go back and forth between. So if you don't have Solemn Warnings, dimensional prisons work just as well. Obviously, they don't stop your opponent's monster from being summoned. What they do is, what Dimensional Prison obviously does is removes them from play during the battle phase. So that's one thing I thought about. Another difference. Now, I only run 2 copies of Cards from Heaven now because, as I stated before in my deck profile, Heaven's Armada, which is a different version of this deck, a more controlled version of this deck. Cards from the Sky, it's a great card. It's a great, nice, balanced, I think, draw engine. You remove from play 1 fairy monster to draw 2 cards. Kind of like Card for Black Feathers. The only difference is that you can't special summon or conduct your battle phase. So it's even more of a nerf from Aloran Darkness. It's still good, But running at 3, if you top deck this, it's terrible. By itself, it's terrible. It just, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's really, really bad if you top deck it. If you open 1 or 2 copies, plus 1 or 2 fairies, it goes crazy because you can activate this multiple copies of it per turn. So you just remove, pitch, draw, and using a card like him, you can always recycle your remove from play fairies. So also side deck return from a different dimension. So there's another way you can recycle your remove from play fairies. I put back Darkhold into the deck because I felt like even though Master Hyperion is more than adequate enough to handle destruction effects, both for spells, traps, and monsters, I felt like Darkhold is just like one of those cards that it's really, I mean, Saki. You can just top deck it along with the Monster Reborn in hand, and then basically brain control. You Darkhold their monster, assuming it's not Shooting Star Dragon or Stardust, or for some special cases Shooting Quasar. Just Darkhold that, or sometimes what I like to Darkhold the monsters and the Monster Reborn the monster and take it, or get your monster back, because Master Hyperion is not an only monster. He can be tribute summoned, he can be special summoned. But if he's one of the awesome things about him is that if your opponent summon warnings him, unlike a synchro monster, you can just Monster Reborn him out of the graveyard, because just because his special summon was negated does not mean he's dead in the graveyard like most agent fairies are. No, like most synchro monsters are, sorry. So that's one thing I really love to do. Use him to bait a summon warning, because he's basically a free summon. And then once they do that stupidly, go to work with your other monsters, and then once you get that Monster Reborn, just bring him back. So yeah, this is the updated version of the Heavenly Host. This is the updated version of the Heavenly Hosts. If you guys have any comments, as usual, write them down below. I'm really good with trying to reply back to comments and send messages to his inbox. So I'll do that as soon as I can, as soon as I see it. Thank you all for subscribing. As usual, keep on subscribing, keep on those comments, keep on those suggestions. If you have any questions or need help with any of your decks, send them to me in my inbox. I will help you as best as I can. And thank you for watching. Peace out, YouTube.